Sneakers and basketball are one and the same. It's the arena in which most brands have made their name alongside the world of running. In the 80s, when we thought of sneakers for basketball, we thought of Nike with its Air Force One and Air Jordan, Adidas with its Superstars, Converse with its Pro Leather or Weapon, or Reebok with its Reebok Pump. But another brand tried to make a place for itself in this very closed field, and that brand was none other than New Balance. Unfortunately, their attempt was a big flop at the time. But this failure turned into a huge success 30 years later, in 2020. As you may have guessed, today we're talking about a totally forgotten model that has made a masterful comeback, the New Balance 550. We are in 1989. On the basketball courts, Nike, Adidas, Converse, and even Reebok were at war. Even if Nike's dominance is felt with its Air Jordans, which break records every year. Michael Jordan realizes the shot with the Jordan 4 and the crowd goes wild. But behind the scenes, New Balance would secretly like to take part in this war. They'd already tried with James Worthy and his New Balance Worthy 740 or 790 in 1985 and 1987. But in 1989, they tried again with a new model far too advanced for its time in terms of design, the New Balance 550. Designed by the so-called godfather of dad shoes, Stephen Smith, the model known at the time as the PE 550 Basketball Oxford, was a total flop for its lack of technological innovation back then. At the end of the 80s, technology took precedence over style, as the world was constantly evolving in all areas. Michael Jordan and his signature sneakers were known to put so many brands out of business that they crushed the market. A little anecdote. The Air Jordan played a major role in Converse's downfall in the NBA, and so it was obvious that a pair like the 550 wouldn't make it. After this flop, the 550 became a little shame for New Balance. They didn't want to hear any more about them, and those who owned them left them in the closet. They concentrated on their successful models like the 990 and left this model completely out of the picture. Just as the Dunk was forgotten because the Air Jordan was crushing everything, even within its own company. But there's a recent trend to bring forgotten sneakers models from the 80s and 90s out of the closet and turn them into modern-day successes. This will be the case for the 550, but only thanks to one man. In 2020, in order to relaunch its brand in the sneaker world, New Balance once again approached Aimé Dore, with whom the brand had collaborated in the past. But what on earth is this brand? Founded in New York in 2014 by Teddy Santis, who had no experience in fashion, the brand has made phenomenal progress in the era in which it was rooted, where most brands had already been established for a long time. But even if he had no fashion experience, he had the eye of someone who's lived in New York all his life. And that's a huge advantage when it comes to designing streetwear chic. Inspired in large part by the 90s, his brand brings together very basic pieces with ultra-comfortable cuts and premium materials, at a time when most brands play on their logos and patterns to sell their clothes. Over the years, he has continued in this vein, opting for garments that are a little less sober, but still devoid of logos. Only a connoisseur of the brand can recognize the clothes from the people who wear them. And with such a rise, the collaborations began to flow, with Kith, Puma, Clarks, Suicoke, and finally New Balance in 2019. He first worked on the 997, a classic model of the brand, and on the 827 with a colorful model. But his crowning achievement will come with his work on the 550 in 2020. He'll opt for a 100% basketball strategy, bringing the model out of New Balance's dusty closet. With his slogan, International Friendship for Basketball, he'll apply many university colors like green, blue, and red. And we're about to find out that Aimé Dore and New Balance have got some serious flair. This street-ready, super comfortable pair boasts a rare originality in today's sneaker world. In terms of style and innovation, even though it's an old model, its retro look is very appealing, and let's be honest, when it's different from the rest and looks good, sneakerheads make it a hit all by themselves. Seeing the success of these models, they will be releasing two more of them in spring 2021. The natural green colorway and the white navy red colorway. Yes, exactly, vive la France! But what if I told you that this collab was just the tip of the iceberg and that the explosion was underway? Yes, Aimé Dore was just the beginning. Yes, Nike is still number one, but many resellers and retailers agreed on one thing: New Balance was the brand of 2021, and many pointed the 550 as the reason for the craze for the brand with the N. After Aimé Dore, prestigious collaborations followed another. First, we had a collaboration with Rich Paul that gives the pair a creamy look, with Oralee for an ultra-rare off-white pair released in very limited numbers and only in Japan. Also with United Arrows, who applied grey suede, and last but not least, with Size for a flashy orange model which, along with Aimé Dore, is largely responsible for the craze surrounding this model. And this enthusiasm for the sneaker is well understood by New Balance because they've released a lot of 550 colorways in 2021, and this in general release. These certainly don't have the resale price of the Aimé Dore or Rich Paul collaboration, but they're still a huge success, especially for the number of colors released and the number of restocks that have taken place. Everything is always sold out in no time with every release. It's like the Yeezy 350 V2 era in 2016. It's crazy. Among the most striking colorways of this general release are the Syracuse and its super flashy orange, which obviously recalls the collaboration with Size. The UNC, an obvious nod to the University of North Carolina, where Michael Jordan played, or the surprising multicolor. There are also colors inspired by Aimé Dore, such as the white royal black, the white red black, and the white green black. In short, the New Balance 550 has become a must-have pair in just a year and a half, and that's a rare feat in the sneaker business. And if some people think that things are bound to slow down at some point, well, not at all, we're far from it, as the releases and future prestigious collaborations for this model pile up day after day. As I shoot this video, Joe Freshgoods has released a collaboration with the 550. Like Size once again, which has unveiled its Couture pack, containing 3 pairs, and finally like Comme des Garçons, which released a black and a white model. With all this, the New Balance 550 is set to last, and this all to our great pleasure.